This is Produce Like a Prodigy. 5 tips for getting into deep work. Now, if you're a high performing melanated professional, there's a constant pressure to produce high quality work, right? It's not enough just to win that championship. You have to repeat back to back, or corporate thinks it's a loss. If you're not producing at that level, that's when upper management starts asking you if you like working here or not. Or if you're a melanated entrepreneur, maybe it's when your clients, like that first product, but now they want even more of you. They want more of your time, more of your expertise. This is Produce Like a Prodigy. 5 tips for getting into deep work. Now, there's a gap between pressure and production. See, as you grow, the demand for your work increases, and so does that pressure to perform at that level that you're used to. So you're not going to get any more hours in the day or a magic pill that's going to help you to win more cases or sell more units or write that book, organize that department. The gap between you and consistent production will be largely based on your ability to consistently produce deep work. Now, Kanye is going to tell you about his process. This quote I really like, his creative process before he gets into deep work. He said that I feel that just the process, when I design and I become like a 3-year-old, I have to go to my gut. I have to forget everything that I know and really just focus on what I feel. There is a mediocrity trap. So many of us have been conditioned by mainstream society to be mediocre or do just enough, right? Just enough to not get fired, just enough to get the job, just enough to get clients, but not enough to stand out, not enough to dominate the space or become great. So many times the desire or the expectation to do more gets met with resistance or even apathy when you start to want to do more, want to do extra, right? If you have kids, you might resonate with this. When you start trying to instill certain values in your kids, notice when you start becoming that parent who makes your child look people in the eye when they talk, or have them clean their plates and do all these kind of things, there is a demographic of people who will try to resist you. They will tell you, hey, let the kids be kids. They shouldn't have to do that. They're young. Or maybe at work, you're new at the job and you really want to do amazing at that project. So you want to stay late, make sure that you finish. But there's always somebody telling you that you should leave it for tomorrow, or you don't have to impress anyone. You don't get paid anymore for this. Why are you still in the office? Why are you still doing that? There's always these people that want to keep you being mediocre right where the majority is at. People want to keep you average so that they can be comfortable, so that they can relate with you, because they've made a decision that they're not going to do any more than the minimum. This deep work that you need to do will require all of you, your full undivided attention, focus, and concentration. Martin Luther King said that whatever your life's work is to do, do it well. If a man is called to be a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted. No more mediocre work where you're scrolling through Facebook or you write a few paragraphs and then send some emails and then call it a day. No. You need to learn how to get into a zone where ideas, thoughts, and inspiration for your work comes fluidly, where the solutions and strategies work together almost seamlessly during your 1 hour, your 90-minute or 3-hour block of non-distracted work, high-level work. This is work where you produce and get awards. It moves a company forward, or it takes the industry by storm. This is that deep work that takes your small business to a corporation, all because you were able to concentrate and focus on one task for a specific block of time with no distractions, day after day, week after week, year after year. We need to really understand what deep work is. First, deep work is meaningful. It's work that has a higher purpose, work that people need, and it changes people, or it changes the way people do things because of it. Also, deep work is cognitively demanding. It takes a lot out of you mentally. It's a demand. You have to use your thinking, logical brain, your prefrontal cortex, to solve complex problems, and that conscious part of your brain that makes you concentrate and focus on something until the job is done. It requires you to think deeply about complex aspects and details. And three, it's rare. It means everyone can't do it. As a matter of fact, only a few people can do work like this. It's work that is in high demand and it's rare. It requires various skill sets and mental strategies to get it all done. It's not easily replaced or duplicated. My name is Emmanuel Solomon, the People Man with Emmanuel Solomon Training and Coaching. I'm a people skills coach who helps high-performing professionals of color just like yourself to promote and reposition their careers and businesses with power through the development of elite level people skills and cultural emotional intelligence. I've studied over 12 years in the area of interpersonal skills, human psychology, and emotional intelligence. I have a human resources background where I started my passion to help Black and brown professionals navigate inequities in the workplace and help them to promote. I worked under many elite level coaches, mentors, and strategists to give you the expertise that I have today, helping melanated professionals promote in the most hostile conditions. Today, I'm going to help you to produce like a prodigy. I'm going to give you 5 tips for getting into deep work. Don't forget to go to emmanuelsolomon.com. I've got a free gift for you. So act fast so you don't miss out on your free gift. Make sure you go to emmanuelsolomon.com. Okay, so this is produce like a prodigy. The first tip for getting into deep work is deep work requires focus. That means attention and energy are directed to one task. See, when you're focused, our minds are emptied of all that clutter and distraction, and it's ready to take on whatever problem is presented. Most of us have been conditioned to stay in a continual state of distraction to prevent this deep work, where we get on social media, we're getting various feeds that target our desires, calling you all the time, various media coverage to activate the fear centers of your brain. So you want to find out more, stroke your desires, take you away from the task that's at hand. And we need to create a habit of focus and directing our attention and energy to one thing, taking that sustained effort and mental stamina to stay on one thing for an extended amount of time. That's really what concentration is. Just a side note, one of the goals of white power is to make sure that you're not able to focus on deep level work. Let me talk about it. Because if you, melanated professional, start to think deep, start to work on deep level projects, deep level thoughts, deep level solutions as a habit, you might actually find solutions to free yourself and your people group from white power and oppression. So it's part of the game to keep you distracted, to keep you in a distracted state so that you're never going to be able to find a way out of this rat trap. So deep work requires focus. The second tip, deep work requires a setup. Deep work requires a setup. You can't just arbitrarily approach deep work. It requires a setup. You're going to push your mind and body to a new level each time you get into deep work. So a plan and a strategy for how to approach it is to maximize your effort. I mean, you want to be productive, right? In the productivity arena, you want to use something called an implementation intention. It's a specific plan for when and where a specific action is going to take place. For example, I'll go to the store on Tuesday, the 15th at 8 p.m. so I can get specific items. That's going to give you an implementation intention. So time blocking is a tool that accomplishes much of the same thing. It's a specific time, date, and task. For example, I'll time block 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Tuesday for deep work. What it does is it sets the edges for your work, allows your brain to prepare for that upcoming task. It allows the mind to get an opportunity to know what's expected of it. And it helps you so you don't panic or create anxiety because that task has time associated and allotted to do that. It primes the mind too and allows the subconscious to start working on solutions without your conscious awareness. Deep work requires a setup. The deep work that you do, it needs to be given that respect through a proper setup. No more playing it by ear. Number 3, deep work requires the right environment. The right environment. Deep work requires the right environment. Also, it's kind of an extension of the setup. Now, environment is the surroundings or conditions in which a person, animal, or plant lives or operates. The surroundings or conditions, right? Ask yourself, what are the surroundings and conditions that you need for deep work? You got to know thyself or be in the process of that so that you can know what kind of environment you need to produce this deep work. You might need a spotless environment, or maybe you need a few books or folders to get your environment just right. Maybe that's what really motivates you and helps you to kind of lock in that type of environment. The main point is that you need to spend time with yourself and some evaluated experience to know the answers to these questions. Also, you want to eliminate distractions. So sometimes headphones might be the move. You might want to put headphones on it, and that kind of helps you to zone in. Maybe write a sign on the outside of your door that, hey, I'm working, and have that attitude and have that demeanor, that body language that I'm working. I don't have no time to be distracted. And then give warnings and reminders beforehand. That's one of the biggest things you want to do. Give those pre-warnings, right? Bro, those warnings and reminders beforehand that I'm about to be working. So whatever questions you have, you need to ask me before that. Okay, and make sure that you also have the right internal environment. When we're talking about environment, it's not just external. Have the right internal environment. Make sure that you taking care of the emergencies and other tasks that could add to that anxiety that you have that would take your focus away from this deep work that you're going to be doing. And listen to yourself so you can write down all those emergent tasks and assign a date to those things. So if you got something else that's kind of gnawing at you, take care of it. Just write it down and say, I'm going to take care of it tomorrow. I'm going to take care of it at this time, at that time, so that your subconscious can stop working on it and stop making you feel anxious. You want the right internal and external environment so that you can get into that deep work. And number 4, deep work requires a goal. Deep work requires a goal. We just talked about focus and energy and attention, and the goal is what that energy and attention needs to be focused on. What is the goal for this work session? Now you're starting to prime your subconscious to know what it's expected to do. It starts to center your work. Now, every time you're off task or moving in the wrong direction, that goal helps you to reel yourself back in. It's important that you write down the goal. That it's not just in your mind floating around, oh, remember. No, you need to write it down and make sure it's clear and on something so that you remember what your goal is. You want it to be specific. You want no room for confusion or convolution, no muddy water. That leaves room for extra analysis or rumination. That analysis paralysis will kill you in deep work. So, for example, for this next hour, I'm going to create my presentation slide. Or maybe it's I'm going to read the client intake surveys, and then I'm going to write down my outline for the talk. I'm going to listen to that audio book and take notes. And finally, deep work requires a script. Deep work requires a script. And I'm not talking about acting script, right? We should know that that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the action steps that you're going to take to accomplish your goal, the basic strategy. Nothing super complicated, but the basic steps to accomplish that goal within that time block. For example, if your goal is filing client surveys, first I'm going to read through the client surveys, then I'm going to create categories for each client type, then I'm going to file them electronically. That helps you to stay focused on what you actually need to do, and it puts the steps in order, and there's no extra thinking. You don't want any extra thinking when you're going into deep work. You want all of it to be on your goal. And then the bonus tip I want to give you here is you can add time estimates to each step so that you can stay within that time frame, or at least the estimate of how long it's going to take you. And then you can kind of go back later and find out, okay, this is how long it takes to do a task like this. So now you're able to estimate better. You're able to accomplish more because you know exactly how long it's going to take to complete a task. So deep work requires a script. That's number 5. Now, these tips are going to help you to get prepared and ready to do deep work. But this is just one piece of that puzzle. And there's several pieces that are necessary to maximize your effort and help you to produce consistently. You need Black Power routines. This is a 5-week online course. It's a game changer that you need right now. It's going to help you to set big goals, stay motivated, and schedule your life with power. If you know you need to produce at the highest level as a Black professional, then you can't afford to waste any more time scrolling and staying distracted. The average person loses 77 days in productivity a year to distractions like scrolling, entertaining yourself. So why don't you use some of that extra time to become your best self? Organize your life, produce like you never have before. Start that side business, take your career to the next level. Maybe it's getting shredded, or get more education in the area that you want to master. I want you to go to emmanuelsolomon.com/new-page-1 so that you can go to Black Power Routines, get the information. If you don't want to go there, just go directly to emmanuelsolomon.com and then go to special offers and you'll find it there. Spots are limited, so to learn more and see if you qualify, write that link down on the screen and learn more. Okay, I want you to get your power back right now with Black Power routines. You're going to learn how to stay motivated. You're going to learn how to get into a routine and get into that deep work that you actually need to produce at the highest level.